Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So we read the hadith before that of the Prophet ﷺ who said, many men have reached perfection, kamula. And the Prophet ﷺ added, said, among women, only Maryam bint Imran and Asiya, the wife of Fir'aun, reached perfection. So yes, there is spiritual perfection, but there are stages very close to that. So then the Prophet ﷺ added, he says, Aisha radiallahu anha is better than other women, just as tharid is better than all other food. So he praised Aisha highly. And Aisha radiallahu anha said, he died, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, on my day. Right? The Prophet had multiple wives and they had terms. Allah, mighty, majestic, took his soul while he was lying against me, literally like lying against my chest. Right? He was touching me when the Prophet passed away. And my saliva was the last thing that entered his mouth. The Prophet was passing away, and the Prophet saw one of the Sahaba with a miswak in his mouth, a siwak in his mouth. And so Aisha understood what he meant, and so she got it, she broke it in her mouth and chewed it so that he could clean his teeth with it. So she's telling us that physically and spiritually, she was extremely close to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this shows off a huge rank that the greatest of creation, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, should die on her, right? With this greatly physical connection is a huge indication of her rank with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, told Salama, don't harm me by harming Aisha. Never did any revelation come to me when I was in bed with any wife among you except Aisha, right? So literally, it doesn't mean in bed with in the sense that it's not an innuendo. It means under the lihaf, under the blanket of any one of you. So the point is that the Prophet was there with his wife and revelation came to him. And so that means that this woman is a very, very amazing person, right? And once she had a situation with her nephew, Ibn Zubayr, and she vowed not to speak to him. And they tried to get her to speak to him, and it was a big issue. And she said, excuse me, she said, but I vowed not to speak to him. And a vow is not a light thing. I can't break this vow. So anyway, they kept on at her, and she started to cry, and she eventually said, that's right, I should break this vow, I should speak to him. And she freed 40 slaves to expiate for that vow. This is how serious she was about her vow. 40 slaves, even though you don't have to do that. Whenever she would remember breaking her vow, she would cry so much that her khimar would become wet. She really understood what it meant to make a promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And her nephew, Urwa ibn Zubayr, he said that Aisha used to fast every single day, right? Al-Qasim ibn Muhammad, who is also her nephew, I guess. So Muhammad, the son of Sayyidina Abu Bakr, her father, and Asma bint Umays, not her mother. Muhammad, he was basically raised by Sayyidina Ali. So it's kind of the son of Sayyidina Ali, but biological son of Sayyidina Abu Bakr. So her Qasim was his son. So this is kind of also her nephew. He said she used to fast every day except the 2 Eids. And Qasim Muhammad, he said, one morning, every single morning he would go to her and give her salams. So one morning I went to her and she was praying and reciting, Allah has blessed us and protected us from the punishment, the adab, what is it? Adab as-samum, right? The scorching heat. So she was reflecting on this verse of the Quran and the description of hellfire. And what would it be like if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us and saved us from this situation? We're now on Judgment Day and we've been saved. And she kept seeking protection, tad'u, and crying. She kept crying and crying, repeating the verse and crying, etc. So he said, I had stood for too long, so I decided to go to the market and come back. Maybe it's not a good time to wait for her, so I'll come back when she's finished. He goes to the market, comes back. So when I came back, she was still standing in prayer and crying. Right? This is how she was. And she gave us a very amazing piece of advice. She said, the very best thing you can meet Allah with is having few sins. Many people, they focus on doing good deeds. Right, let's go on Umrah, let's give charity, let's do this. The most important thing to focus on is not doing the haram. That is the most important thing. If you can focus on not doing the haram, right, and you get the main sunnahs in and you get your obligations done, that is the most important thing to do in life. Whoever wishes to outdo those who worship day and night, right, let him hold himself back from doing sins. And in praise of her knowledge, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, the great faqih and the great muhaddith, the Sahaba, he said, never were we, the prophetic companions, confused about something save that we asked Aisha about it and found with her a great understanding about the matter. Right? Found her to understand the matter very well. She was a faqihah, she was very, very wise, and she understood things very well. Masruq, one of the great muftis of the Tabi'een, he said, I swear by Allah that we saw the elders among the Sahaba, the elders, not the young people, the elders among the prophetic companions, asking Aisha about inheritance issues, tricky, difficult things that really require deep understanding. Urwa ibn Zubayr, her nephew, he said, I never saw anyone more knowledgeable about the Quran, inheritance, fiqh, poetry, history of the Arabs and their lineages than Aisha. She wasn't just a faqihah or just this, she was an encyclopedia. She was an amazing person. Sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.